So, we're here to talk about the elephant in the room, about this Boston Cavs game. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals is winding down right now, and I know what everyone wants to talk about is why didn't Derek Williams play more? 4 points in 8 minutes. That guy's got to get in the game. Here's what I want to know from you guys. We're doing this for the second time here at cleveland.com. Doug Maurice in my basement with the peanut butter jar holding up my phone. 130 to 86. This is over. The Cavs have won the first 2 games in Boston. I told you when we did this after game 1 that game 2 would be closer. Boston would be competitive in this series. And so feel free in the comments to now tell me how stupid I was. I mean, what are you going to do? Here's what I want to know. I want you to try to put this in words to me, which Twitter couldn't do tonight. Twitter was a mess of GIFs and random lame jokes. I want to know from you if you've ever seen them better. Have you ever seen LeBron James better? Have you ever seen the Cavs better? What are you feeling like as a Cavs fan right now? If I was not here in my basement and I was in the Boston right now at that game, you guys all saw it when J.R. Smith hit that turnaround, desperation, crazy shot, the ball going out of bounds at the end of the first half to give them, I think, a 41-point lead. And there was that guy in the Cavs jersey who stood up and pointed at J.R. Boom! Right? That bald guy in a LeBron jersey. That's how everybody felt, right? Right? The Saul checking in. Never seen LeBron play better than he has right now. That's how everybody felt. I would go talk to that guy. If I was in Boston, I would be talking to that Cavs fan who stood up in a LeBron jersey and pointed at JR for that 41-point lead at the end of the first half, right? So, I'm listening to myself on my computer so I can see your comments. That's who I want to talk to. I want to talk to all of you who felt like that guy, who felt like you stood up in your house and pointed at J.R. Smith, that stood up and pointed at LeBron James, that stood up and pointed at Kevin Love or Kyrie Irving. What are the Cavs making you feel like right now, okay? What are they making you feel like? Have you ever seen them better, okay? That's what I want to know. We have a different language question here. I'm not going to be able to do that, unfortunately. So if you have questions for me, let's talk. We'll run down some stats. Omar says, this is amazing. I think he's commenting on my blanket. Must be what is amazing to him. So they're coming back for Game 3 on Sunday in Cleveland. Coming back for Tuesday, Game 4. Yeah, that's a good point. How are we supposed to view this? The Saul mentioning that sometimes it's hard to judge the Cavs, I think, in some of these situations because you're kind of wondering about the level of competition, right? And is it the level of competition, or is this how good they are? Would they be doing this to anybody? People blame LeBron for having no competition when it's just his greatness. Is that what this is about? That they would be doing this to anyone? Omar says LeBron is too great. Would they be doing this to anyone? Will they be doing this to the Warriors? When you see them score like this, and we'll run down the stats. Unorthodox says, people were doubting the Cavs. I was doubting the Cavs before the playoffs. Did you doubt the Cavs before the playoffs? Did you know they were just messing around? They were just goofing around. They have killed the regular season. The regular season is dead, thanks to the Cavs. How can you watch regular season basketball anymore? It's meaningless. Let's have another discussion, too. Give me your comments on this. Should they wait to vote on the MVP until after the playoffs? We know they announced it tonight. We know LeBron heard about it. 3 MVP finalists. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, right? Regular season is pointless. It's looking that way. LeBron James not in the top 3 of the voting. Now, it's going to be hard for people to argue with that based on what we saw in the regular season, right? We know LeBron played a lot of minutes, led the league in minutes per game, in the top 10 in total minutes, even with the games he sat out. But is that the 100 reporters and journalists out there who voted for other people, was that wrong? Was that wrong, or should they wait? Should we be influenced by what we're seeing now? Because of course, if you voted right now, how could you vote for anyone else? But that, to be fair, is not necessarily what we saw every single night, right? not during the regular season, not 82 games. Russell Westbrook did it for 82 games. James Harden did it for 82 games. That is not what we saw for 82 games. So it's hard to blame the people who didn't vote for LeBron. I wouldn't have voted for LeBron. And now you would feel stupid. So should we wait? They woke up a monster. Of course LeBron is top 3, says Unorthodox. Of course he is now. But clearly he's 4th, right? He's 4th. There were 4 guys really in the discussion this year. The 3 guys who were in the top 3 and LeBron. But when the Cavs, with the talent the Cavs had, when the Cavs have this talent, Clashmaster, I remember you from Game 1. You were in on the ground floor on these YouTube videos, man. We're doing this YouTube live. We're going to do it after all the road games. We might do it after, might do it after the home games too. We'll see if you guys like it. We then put it on cleveland.com so people can see all your great comments and they can see what my basement looks like. It's hard, right? This was not, you watched it, this team was not the team that we saw for all 82 games in the regular season. This was a team that was a 500 team from January 1st till the end of the year. How can that be an MVP? How can that be an MVP for LeBron? But now you see this. Now we all see this and we say that's as good as anybody has ever played basketball. That is as good as anybody has ever played basketball. Okay, I think LeBron James had like a plus 45 tonight. Right? We're talking about let me do math, 44-point win. It's unbelievable. LeBron James, we'll run through the stats in case you guys don't have a stat sheet right in front of you. 30 points, 12 of 18 from the field. Better shooting the 3 tonight. I think he was 1 of 6 in Game 1. 4 of 6 on 3s tonight. 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 blocks, 1 single turnover. You want to see a little better Kyrie from Game 1. Kyrie tonight, 23 points, 8 of 11. 3 assists, 4 turnovers. That's all right. Kevin Love, good again. 4 of 9 on 3. Now, that's quite as good as the other night, but they'll take that. That's pretty good. 7 of 14 from the field. 4 of 9 from 3. Mad Mobile, loyal. You were here for Game 1. The Cavs will beat the Warriors. Do you guys think that? Tell me now, right? Was Isaiah Thomas really injured? We're going to find this out after the game too, right? Was he really injured? What's your opinion on people saying the Cavs and Warriors dominance is ruining the league? Let's do that. Let's have that discussion. Is this bad? Is this bad? Or is this building to a season climax that is going to give us one of the great series in the history of professional basketball? Good for the league or bad for the league? Okay? Good for the league or bad for the league? Tell me. Come in here, right? JW, it is good to see Kyrie stepping up. You've got to have Kyrie going by the finals if this is going to work for the Cavs, right? Basal, good for the league, right? I said the other night I'd pick the Warriors. I would still pick the Warriors. This is unbelievable. I think it's good for the league too, right? All-time great performances I don't think are bad things. I don't think you need to have a close series. I'm back to ask you the question. Future, bringing back the question, is it going to be a sweep? I said no sweep the other day. Find me a person in America that's saying no sweep right now, right? How do the Cavs not win these next 2 games in Cleveland? I don't see how it happens. The Celtics look dead, right? We know they have to get better. They will get better this offseason. I hope you guys went and read my story that I put up today. This is the 14th matchup between Cleveland and Boston in the history of the cities across all sports in the playoffs, okay? This is the 14th. Indians, Red Sox, Indians, Boston Braves in the 1948 World Series, right? Browns and Patriots played in the playoffs. Cleveland currently leads 7-6. It looks like it's going to get to 8-6, all right? So Cleveland and Boston. No, Cleveland hasn't played any other city in the combined playoff histories more than they've played Boston. So I don't think the Celtics are going away. They're going to get better. They're going to be more competitive with the Cavs. I don't think the Red Sox are going away. We might see them against the Indians in the playoffs. But the Celtics right now aren't there, right? The Celtics right now aren't there, all right? So Futures really want you guys to know. Come on, Cavs fans. Who do you guys think? Will it be a sweep or no, right? Even if Isaiah comes back, it's over, says Unorthodox. Does anyone think that Isaiah is going to make a difference? I think he literally looks smaller. Avery Bradley, Vasal is noticing this. Avery Bradley is as competitive as any Celtics player on the court right now, right? He's doing it on both ends. Omar says sweep. Is anyone else going to say no sweep? I guess I'm off with no sweep. I was hanging on the no sweep as tight as I could. I thought the Celtics who were inexplicably competitive all year. This is a team that doesn't make sense. Another question for you guys. The Celtics getting blown out by this. What does this say about Brad Stevens as a coach? Good or bad? Are you impressed that he got this team that can't stay within 50 of the Cavs? He got that team to the number 1 seed. Is it impressive? Or are you wondering, how are you the number 1 seed and you fell apart like this in the playoffs? Give me an answer on that. But let's go again. Good or bad for the league? I think I give the Celtics respect too. It doesn't make sense. They are not the most talented team in the East. They did something to get the 1 seed, okay? Greg Davis is checking in with some Warriors action there, right? He says the Warriors will be the first team in NBA history to win every game in the playoffs plus the championship. What? Come on. Are we going to call a sweep in the finals for either team? I don't think we're going to see that. I hope we don't see that. Don't you want a great finals? Don't you want an all-time historic finals to match what we saw the past 2 years? This is the ultimate. Again, we said it after game 1. Healthy. Let's keep everybody healthy on Warriors and on the Cavs, right? Let's decide this. Let's see them both at full strength and see what happens, okay? This is greatness by the Cavs. Future's in here. Future knows what it's about. He's in on the ground floor on these YouTube talks. It's greatness by the Cavs and the Warriors, and people are just not liking it. Listen, I think people do like it. Does anyone out there not like this? Does anyone out there not like this? I think even people in other NBA cities are okay with this. Now, if you're a Celtics fan tonight, Vasal loves it. If you're a Celtics fan tonight, you're not happy, right? If you're a San Antonio fan, Clashmaster, tell me more of why you hate it. Why do you hate it, Clashmaster? I think people like it because the payoff will be worth it. I think the payoff will be worth it. There have been too many drab NBA seasons that the finals are not necessarily great every year. You've seen that, right? You see that. It is not a guarantee that the finals are great. Remember when the New Jersey Nets were in the finals? Right? I mean, there's not always a great finals. You cannot count on that. So let's not take this finals for granted, okay? 2 dominant teams who are just better. If you don't like it, go in the gym and get better. Vasal, this should make every team in the league get better. And I think they are, right? The Celtics are going to try and get better. They're going to try to get a superstar in addition to the draft pick, or maybe trade the draft pick for a superstar. The league's on notice, right? I know. Now listen, Cleveland fans were very frustrated when the Miami made a big 3, right? Now the Cavs made their big 3. The Warriors made a big 4, right? You need a rivalry to make a good game. You have a rivalry right here. You have one. It's Golden State and Cleveland, right? We're going to be talking about these finals matchups. If this finals is as good as I think it's going to be, and I know as you think it's going to be, we will be talking about this era of the NBA for a long time, just like we talked about Celtics and Lakers, right? Like we talked about Bird and Magic and them bringing out the best in each other. I think they only played in the finals 3 times, though, but it feels like more. It feels like a whole 10-year era of Celtics and Lakers, right? Clashmaster. Ask a guy, a random person, they would not watch Celtics Wizards, but they will watch Cavs Warriors. You're right. Everybody who likes the NBA will watch this, right? Tell me who won't watch this. Who would not? Bud Shaw and I, if you ever watch our videos that we do and we yell at each other on cleveland.com, we did one the other week. Is it possible that Cavs Warriors would be boring? I said, if you think it's boring, take a Toronto-Houston finals and get back to me, right? I don't understand how that could be boring. When do you believe LeBron will slow down? I don't see it happening soon. Vasal. And I apologize if I'm not saying your name right. We've talked about this. He's 32, 14 years in the league. Nobody's done it like this. This high level. He's playing maybe his best basketball at age 32 in his 14th year. You can see how his game will progress with his passing, with his defense, with his rebounding. He doesn't have to go 100% all the time. He doesn't have to be the number 1 scorer when you've got Kyrie there, when you've got Kevin Love there. I think he goes like this, or a version of this, as he adjusts his game 3, 4, 5 more years, right? I don't think this is ending soon. I think I had questions with this regular season minutes load, most minutes per game in the league, 10th overall in total minutes. It was too much. They played him too much. Look at him. Now, sweeping helps. Sweeping helps. But look at him, what he's doing, right? Do you think LeBron deserves to be the MVP, AH? Listen, you can make an argument, and I've heard Cleveland beat writers make this argument, that LeBron could be the MVP every year. valuable, what he's done for an entire city, for an entire franchise. Nobody is more valuable than that. If you want it in that MVP, if you are hammering the valuable, you're not just looking at stats. You're not looking at regular season wins for a team. If you're hitting the V, valuable, you could just write down LeBron first every year and be right. On some level, be right, right? So I get that. That you could vote for him, but I also get everybody. I would have voted for Russell Westbrook. We can't have revisionist thinking and forget the regular season. I get that. What's your name? And no disrespect, my name is Doug Lamer. Someone asked me on Twitter today. I never heard of you. Doug Lamer from cleveland.com. Columnist, do some different stuff now. I used to do all Ohio State. Now I do this. Pacers Heat 2014 is what people want while we wait for the finals. Listen, I think you've got to be happy with this, right? Right? This is the best he's ever played, Douglas DeLillo, who I know. Has to fall off, but probably has 5 really solid years left. I think that's and maybe like 2 or 3 great, and then a couple really solid, and then we start thinking about how long does he want to hang on to be, some form of what he is. I think he could play till 40. Look at the shape the guy's in, right? Look at the shape the guy's in. We saw him sort of experiment with his body, try and get a little leaner. That didn't exactly work. What he's playing at now, the way he's playing at now, I think they could manage his minutes even more during the regular season and save him for this. So I think he can do this. I think they can do this because he played a lot this year and he's still doing this, right? Kyrie fan here. Did you like what you saw from Kyrie? Did you see enough from Kyrie tonight, right? When LeBron is going like this and when Kevin Love is just stationing himself for those 3-pointers off LeBron kicks, maybe you're not going to get Kyrie at his best, but they would be good to get Kyrie going. We're talking a lot about the defense. I thought it was great tonight for the Cavs to have a game like this where they can have this offense. They just have such confidence on offense, and regardless of the defense, we know that overall. And Chris Fedor, we had a podcast the other day, great on this, talking about how overall Golden State's just a better defensive team, right? I mean, we can't really argue that. Cavs are playing great defense, but if they're going to win, they have to score with Golden State. So when you see this offense like this is a good sign, right? Douglas DeLillo, only worry I have about his game is usually guys without a good jumper fall off faster, but if he continues to excel with his jumper like this, who knows? We all know that fall-away jumper that Jordan developed, right? If you can't drive, you just fall away and make an open shot for yourself. LeBron from 3. What if LeBron is now going to be a 3-point shooter? Now, he's much more dangerous from the outside because everybody knows he can drive by them and get to the rim when he wants to. So if he loses half a step, that's going to make the defense come up a little bit more. But the way he is shooting, I said, first 2 series, 43% from 3-point range. He can't do that. Was he 1 for 6 the other night? He's 4 for 6 from 3 tonight. The way he is shooting, he looks so comfortable. He looks so comfortable shooting the 3. You can see that not just now, but hello, Clashmaster, I see you. How it matters down the line, how you see his game evolving. That even the moments when he's not getting to the rim at will anymore, right? You can see how his game is going to be still very dangerous. Did I think J.R. Smith was going to miss that shot right before halftime? What? That's like the perfect J.R. Smith shot, right? Like chasing down a loose ball, grabbing it, turning in the air, and shooting it. I mean, like, it makes more sense for him to hit that than it does to hit a wide open 3. It would be nice to see J.R. get going a little bit, right? But when LeBron is doing this, Love is making 3s, Tristan Thompson's hitting the boards. There's not much else the Cavs need. New Mommy, the Eastern and Western series are boring so far. It's hard. You need to be able to appreciate greatness in bad games. It's not competitive, right? But you have to be able to appreciate greatness, and you have to hope the payoff is coming. I think it is. Can I talk about how the Cavs left their starters in? Listen, guys, it always astounds me. This happens a lot at Ohio State. Ohio State has about 5-6 blowout games a year, and they leave their starters in till early in the fourth quarter. Guys want to play. They're already rested. They're in a rhythm. You can't be too afraid of injury. You can't live in fear, right? We all saw the Kawhi injury goes up for a simple jumper, guy puts his foot under him when he lands, serious injury. That could happen to any NBA player at any point. So you can't live in fear of that. I understand wanting them to keep a rhythm, keep a flow. The announcers were talking about you want to take Boston's heart out and that kind of thing. I just think you want your guys to keep that confidence, feel like they got a good run. And I get it. Again, you can't live in fear, and there's no worry about rest here. They're going every other day now. Since the Wizards and Celtics went 7, they don't have a break in this series like the Spurs and Golden State had a little bit of an extra break between Game 2 and Game 3. But I think you got to let them play. So I thought it was fine. LeBron's used to big minutes, and I got that. Is LeBron great, or is the competition too weak? Future, you know what it is, Future. You don't have to ask me. LeBron's great, right? LeBron is great. I am seeing LeBron, and it does not matter how MJ was. Daniel, Carlos, Bernardo. Yeah, I agree with that. And we talked about that the other night. I don't need to talk about Michael Jordan right now. I need to talk about LeBron James and what he's doing compared to himself. What he's doing. This is possibly peak him. And that he hasn't lost his athleticism, and he understands the game at a higher level than anybody, right? Please remind all the clowns in Boston who complained about the Cavs running up the score that the rules say they have to shoot every 24 seconds. You're getting paid. There's no such thing as running up the score. It's the playoffs. You're the number 1 seed. There's no such thing as running up the score. I hate the running up the score thing. It makes you look bad, man. Are people really complaining about that, about running up the score? You're the number 1 seed at home. Like, that, it doesn't exist. I want to hear that was a real thing. It doesn't make sense to me. Abdul, can the Cavs defeat the Warriors? Yeah, right? They can. Will they? I don't know. Can you give... Sauce and King wants a shout out for his channel. Listen, man, we're trying to get people to subscribe to this. I got to worry about me first. On Twitter, people were complaining, says Eddie Vidmar. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is big boy school, right? I mean, this is it. This is a gauge for the Celtics. This is a gauge of what they are and what they're not. And this is a very clear message of what they need. They need to guard LeBron. They need some help inside. What they can do in the draft and in free agency to address this, because they have some really nice pieces, but they don't have enough. Who's my favorite Cav besides LeBron? I don't really have favorites. Listen, I'm a sports writer. I'm not a fan, but I admire the game of Tristan Thompson in a way that is astounding to me, what he does on the offensive boards. The extra possessions. You take a great team like the Cavs. Sorry, Sauce and King. Well, I'll get you next time. You take a team like the Cavs that has so many incredible pieces, and you give them a couple extra possessions a game, just because you got a guy who's great at getting in position and is willing to fight for every rebound, and it gets you 3-4 extra possessions a game, it's unbelievable. After game 1, I said the Cavs are going to lose to the Warriors. Do I change my mind, Future? Future, you're going to have to come to my basement. We can do the show together. I'm not changing my mind right now just because of the extra pieces, right? Big 4 versus Big 3, basically. Again, I'm betting my house on it. I'm betting on the Warriors right now. But what is it? I mean, is it 51-49? Is it 50.5 to 49.5? Sauce and King. All right, Sauce and King. He's got a channel. He says he subscribes to ours. I'm going to check Sauce and King. Go subscribe to Sauce and King, right? Kyle Korver. Future, you got to move to Ohio, okay? So listen. This is as good, basically, as they can be, isn't it? Does the Cavs bench give them an advantage over the Warriors? It's funny. Our guys, and we want you to watch this, but we want to make sure you're reading it at cleveland.com. Chris Fedor, Joe Varden are in Boston right now. They've written some great stuff during the year. As Ty Lue has tinkered with that bench, worked with that second unit. We saw some changes in game 1. It's like some of the little nuances right now are getting ignored because it's like, well, they're up by 40. Who cares? The game was over before the second unit came in. They are going to need that against the Warriors, right? I mean, this was not a great bench the whole year. Darren Williams has certainly helped that. Kyle Korver, when he's on, has certainly helped that. But that is going to be an issue. It's funny to think about all these superstars, all these all-time greats we're going to have in the finals against each other, and how much is going to come down to the second unit. And I think everybody who knows the Warriors better than I do has seen that the Warriors gave up some of their depth to get Kevin Durant. Okay, so that could be an issue, right? But that Cavs bench is going to matter more. All right, Omar, good seeing you. Thanks for checking in. that bench is going to matter more in the finals than it has mattered so far, when by the time the bench gets in the game, it's a 40-point game. Do I watch Undisputed? AH wants to know. Don't watch it. Do you agree with Skip Bayless? LeBron's legacy was saved by his teammates like Ray Allen. I mean, I don't want to have a Skip Bayless discussion here. Everybody has great teammates. Was Michael Jordan's legacy saved by Scottie Pippen? Was Michael Jordan's legacy saved by adding Dennis Rodman for the second 3 titles? Was it saved by Horace Grant? Was it saved by Steve Kerr making a jumper in the finals? No. These guys are who they are. They make other people better. But if you think that these guys can do it alone, they can't do it alone, right? How great was LeBron in 2008? They got blown out by the Cavs in the finals because he didn't have pieces around him. If you think that needing good players around you is a weakness for a great player, I don't feel like you, Tony Kukoc. Listen, I covered Tony Kukoc, DeLillo. I know Tony Kukoc, and you're no Tony Kukoc. It's not a weakness for great players to need great players around them. It's a reality. Is it a weakness for Steph Curry that Kevin Durant came and played with him? Right? I mean, Steph Curry went from 2-time MVP to not even first-time All-NBA. Is Kyrie an All-NBA snub? I think snub's a little strong of a word. He's in the mix, right? I mean, is Kyrie between... The hard thing is, that's right, I think they vote 2 guards, 2 forwards, 1 center each team, and there's not really 3 great centers. It's not 15 best players. Is Kyrie one of the 15 best players this year? Probably, in a wide-open field. Is he somewhere between 13th and 19th, right? So I'm not going to get worked up about Kyrie not making it. Certainly in the mix. He'll make it again. Who do I think is the second best player in the NBA? Steph? Probably. I would have voted for Westbrook for MVP, but probably Steph. Tonight's game was a perfect storm, says Eddie Vidmar. They shot, passed, rebounded. Every aspect was in sync tonight. They had some rebounds. Yeah, I mean, that was it, right? Isn't that the best? Have you ever seen them better? If the Warriors didn't have Durant, would they win? I don't know. They do have Durant. Kawhi Leonard's number 2. Man, I know. All right, so now listen. I'm not sitting here trying to pretend I'm the biggest expert on the NBA in the world. My connection's getting bad too. I'm gonna have to end this, right? My connection's getting bad, it says. So don't come in here with all your I said Steph when it should be Kawhi. All right, I don't know. We're talking about the game. So listen, my Wi-Fi is getting a little wonky. So we appreciate you guys checking in. Listen, Joe Vardon, Chris Fedor are in Boston right this very minute, talking to Cavs players and coaches, talking to Boston players and coaches, figuring this out, okay? Yeah, let's see the basement. I can see the basement. So thanks for joining us. We'll do this some more. I appreciate you guys coming in. There were more people tonight than Game 1, so that's good. I'm sorry my connection's getting a little crazy. My Twitter is at Doug Maurice. All right, it says my connection's back. If my connection's back, we might stay a couple more minutes. All right, now we're getting some negative comments about LeBron in here. Listen, that was, I mean, it's like there's not much analysis that a guy in a basement's going to give you right here, right? There's not much analysis that we're going to talk about from basically a 50-point game from the get-go. LeBron's three-point shooting is amazing me right now. What he has become as a three-point shooter it doesn't make any sense for a guy who has all these other skills now to be shooting threes like one of the best three-point shooters in the game is hard to understand, right? Banana Clip Noble loves LeBron's game. There's a lot to love about his game right now. And when he drives the lane and kicks out, Chris Fedor had a stat today that I think he leads the league in assists on three-pointers, right? It's unbelievable. He sets up everything. Kobe James, LeBron is unstoppable, right? LeBron is a savant. It's hard to believe. So we said this on our cleveland.com podcast, Takes by the Lake, at the beginning of the year. Please, please, please appreciate what you're seeing. These are the stories you'll be telling, right? These are the stories you'll be telling about a guy who did this kind of stuff. You know, it doesn't happen all the time. So it's okay. That's the thing about the regular season. On one hand, they've killed it it's dead. It's meaningless. I mean, we've seen that. They're a different team. They turned it on. But you need to appreciate it. You can go and appreciate a player and appreciate a game, appreciate a team, even if the game's bad, because the player's not bad. Because the reason the game is bad is because the player's so good. So watch him do things that you don't see people do. Watch him do things that most players in the history of this league have not been able to do, right? Mentality-wise, watch how he thinks the game. Watch how he thinks the game. He had some great comments. Again, I hope you're reading cleveland.com. He had some great comments today about he doesn't care if he gets doubled or not because he thinks the game either way. So he doesn't care what the other team does because he's going to think it through and figure it out regardless. So defend him as you want to. It doesn't matter. And then the other thing, the point that Brad Stevens has made in this series, the Boston coach, they have the perfect team around him. They have shooters, multiple shooters. J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, Kevin Love. They have a rebounder like Tristan Thompson. They have a second scorer like Kyrie Irving who can get his own shot whenever he wants to. And now, with Darren Williams, they have a guy who can run the second unit, a backup point guard that they searched for all year. That was huge. They really have it all in place around him, which only makes him more dangerous. Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye giving you a little bit of a contribution here and there. Amon Shumpert doing that defensively, what he does. The pieces are in place, and I know some people in the league don't like these super team kind of things, but you have to appreciate the team they've built around him, what LeBron has been able to do, and the types of players he wants around him, and knowing exactly the kind of guys that complement him the best, and then David Griffin as the GM able to make the moves that they need to make to put the Cavs in position to do this, right? I mean, it's you have to appreciate it while it's happening. Kyle Korver tonight, 2 of 5 from three-point range, 8 points, 10 points for Richard Jefferson. I mean, it really is. It's hard to imagine. All right, looks like we got some goofballs here in the comment section. Future, I don't know why you keep doing this to me. Should they pick up Patrick Beverley next year? He's a good defender and can shoot the three. You know, I'm not. That's Joe Varden and Chris Fedor can help you more with that. It's going to be hard to build past what they have because they've invested all their assets into this, right? I mean, they've invested all their assets into this. They sort of are what they are. It's nice, though. Darren Williams for free because he wants to come here. You can get some veterans. They can count on this now in the second half of the season. Veterans who want to go play and try to win a title. People want to come to Cleveland. It's an advantage for them that they certainly are taking advantage of by not having to give up much and find some really good players who can help. So we appreciate you guys joining. Yeah, Bogut would help, but I don't, Bud, I see a JW asking, imagine if Bogut never got hurt. I just don't think that was a regular season move anyway, and that's not a guy who's going to play much in the finals either, right? Right? I mean, they're going to go more small ball. Tristan's going to be in there most of the time as your big man. I don't think, I don't think that the Andrew Bogut thing is going to be a big deal. So, thanks again to you guys for joining us. I see all your comments. I'm trying to comment as we go. There's some people being weird in the comments. But we appreciate you guys joining us again. Go to cleveland.com when we're done here. Joe Varden, Chris Fedor, all the coverage from Boston. Game 3 is Sunday. Game 4 is Tuesday. Game 5 is probably not going to happen. So, thanks for doing this. We'll try to do this some more, right? Much more, many more people in the video today. So we appreciate you guys joining. Great interaction, great comments, great questions for a 50-point game. Thanks for watching. Go read cleveland.com. I'm Doug Maurice, signing off from the basement. Appreciate you guys. See you later.